So
it shows him
Yeah.
come up with that, and I think that is like the third or fourth take after he's already thought of it, because he said the Human Torch was denied a loan, and he starts breaking. He says the Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
I remember that
he
one.
He loses it.
Well, naturally.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right. Hey, in unison. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Reverend and the Reprobate.
Right.
Take 1, Season 1, Episode 36.
We're still here.
Stardate 1. I got nothing.
Captain's log.
Yeah, that's what it should. I should have started with Captain's log. See, I was never much of a Trek guy, though.
I grew up on it.
Yeah?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of shows we were allowed to watch growing up, but then also there weren't a whole lot of channels that were around when we were growing up.
Yeah, that's true.
When I was growing up.
That's true. Were you allowed to watch The Simpsons when you were growing up?
No.
Yeah, me either.
No way. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like, that was the most extreme show for 90s kids was The Simpsons.
Way.
And now,
absolutely not.
Have you watched any of it now that you've been an adult?
Oh, yeah.
So tame in comparison to some of the stuff that's like on regular TV now.
Well, The Simpsons has gone on to inspire Family Guy, South Park.
But I don't think The Simpsons inspired Scandal, which is a show that like my mom would watch regularly, which was written by the lady who did Grey's Anatomy and was.
I said that was new. That wasn't when we were growing up.
No, it wasn't when we were growing up. But I was like, Mom, they're essentially like having sex on television, and I couldn't watch Bart Simpson skateboard down a sidewalk in Springtown. Like,
it's like, eat my shorts, man.
He made a fart joke. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Like, she's having sex with the president.
Not to play devil's advocate, but your mom has probably earned.
I think the devil has enough advocates. Like, the last one he needs is you.
Your mom has probably earned watching mostly whatever show that she wants after raising 4 kids.
I just think it's double.
I also want to sign up for the give my parents crap about not letting me watch TV shows.
Yeah, but also now that you are a parent, you are ready to distribute free passes for anything parents should get away with in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're not the devil's advocate. You're biased.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out to everyone.
I'm also selfish.
I'm just gonna let that hang. For our new
we don't
listeners,
have to explain that.
To a point, right? We're helping produce a new show, which I'm really excited about.
Yep.
With a friend of ours named Greg Lewis, who has been on our show before. He's on one of the first episodes. He did some of our voiceover stuff.
What was his nickname? Did he have a nickname?
Greg?
Yeah.
Jerk. I think that's what I called him more than anything else, was just Jerk.
Well, so he was on Team Impact.
Right.
And we both worked with Team Impact. And they all had like their own names. They'd go on stage, big muscly idiots.
Greg's was probably like Greg, the legitimate athlete of this group.
Yeah.
Lewis.
Greg, the sarcastic one.
Yeah. Well, he was one of the few guys that, as
Greg's
much as
awesome.
I love all of those guys that we used to work with, there were a handful of them that legitimized what that whole ministry was about, as far as like being former pro athletes or things like that, because they had athletic careers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Like Randall the Bear Harris.
Right. But
that's what I'm saying. What was his nickname?
Yeah, he didn't have
There was
one.
the Man of Steel. There was Chimp. Well, that was really your nickname for
that's
Chimp.
Okay, but those guys that you're
naming.
And
he was an Olympic athlete.
Right, but those guys that you're naming are actual athletes. There were plenty of those guys that were like big guys, but they were like flash in the pan.
I do remember going on tour. We went to Pennsylvania. I
right.
remember exactly
Were
who
you in
all
Scranton,
was there.
Pennsylvania? Because
No.
I took the team to Scranton.
Okay, tell me about that.
Okay, well,
no, we did not go to Scranton.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say we went with. There was a new guy that went, and they had just picked him up.
Right.
I spent a lot of time with him, but I didn't really get like, oh, I was a pro footballer, or whatever. He was just
he was just a big guy.
He was like
that
7.5 feet tall and was working. Was working out. Maybe 7 feet tall. Maybe exaggerating a little bit.
Who was
I'm
it?
known to exaggerate. I don't remember his name.
That's a big dude.
Okay. I'm exaggerating, all right?
No, but still, I mean, if you're exaggerating him at 7 foot tall, that's still a very large man.
The fact that you went, whoa, means that you're more impressed than you should be.
Oh, okay, well, there you go.
That's what I'm saying. He was a cool guy. I'm just saying he didn't.
But there were a lot of those guys.
He wasn't like Randall or Greg or what was the Man of Steel? Jeff.
Yeah. There were plenty of guys that we took on the road that did not have.
And I'm sorry I opened this can of worms.
No,
to talk
you're
about
fine.
Team Impact
There were a lot of guys that went on the road that didn't have any like professional athletic experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Greg was a professional bodybuilder. Jeff was an NFL offensive lineman.
Now he's the head of HR, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah. Oh, Greg. Yeah. Jeff is not the head of HR.
No.
He's got a degree in literature.
I keep thinking of Greg, this big dude.
Yeah.
Being like, Brenda, come into my office, please. We have to talk.
Have you done your harassment training this month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think.
I love
it. To think that
I giggle at home sometimes just thinking about
what I think would be really good.
Because to me, all of HR is women. And that's not completely true. There are men in HR.
Sure. Christmas decorations.
Yeah, Garland.
Yeah, he was he was a head of HR.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was a professional bass player because that's how good he is.
No, he was a professional human resources director.
Oh, okay. Garland.
What's
up, buddy?
What's up, big guy?
You probably won't ever watch this, but in case you do, what's up, dude?
So, when I think of the heads of HR, I think of Toby from The Office.
Yeah.
And I just really want to have Greg do some of the conversations that Toby was in.
Well, he would have to have somebody just completely beat him down, like Michael Scott did.
Oh, for sure. Anyway, Greg's got a new show we think you guys should watch.
Yeah, Greg is the man.
Yeah, called The Secular Dissident. Is that the name he landed on?
Yeah.
And it's just him.
I've had to look up how to spell that like 7
dissident?
times. Because I'm like, is it dissident?
Dissonant or dissident?
Yeah.
Yeah. But essentially what he does, he has conversations with people where he breaks down particular pieces of secular worldview. And it's really interesting thus far with the episodes that we've recorded, and I'm excited that he's asked us to be a part of it and to help him on the production end. So be looking for that in the next, I guess we're probably set for an October launch for his program.
We're going to launch in 3 days.
What?
I'm just fine.
Yeah.
It'll take a little bit.
Good grief. We're launching in 3 days. Cool. That was not cool.
Yeah.
I used the word cool, but that was false.
But anyways, big shout out to Greg.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. Be on the lookout for that. This secular dissident. It's got a lot of S's in it.
Yeah.
It almost makes the show sound evil. Do you think it's what he was
Maybe. Knowing him, I mean, he's not evil, but I'm saying
isn't he?
He's
maybe that's what his nickname was. Greg Evil Lewis.
Give him a hand.
Yeah, give him a hand. Great job, Evil. Everybody give Evil a big hand clap.
Everyone shut up. Evil's going to pray now.
Yeah. I have nobody else thinks that's funny. At least we did.
I'm sorry to everyone else.
So I want an update on your Abs by Christmas.
Oh yeah. So Abs by Christmas. A little recap. We are both doing Abs by Christmas, which is just a fun,
the way you
just
said it sounds like Christmas is the one
Christmas.
that's. It sounds like
that Christmas is a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abs by Christmas.
Yeah, we can get someone named Christmas to come on and give us some abs.
So I know a guy named Noel that we used to call Christmas, but he's Scandinavian, can't speak very good English.
Yeah, that doesn't fit because his name's not Christmas.
No, well, that's true.
We have there is something else that does not matter at all.
Okay,
there's
great.
a famous Big Brother contestant named Christmas.
What?
Yeah.
How do you know this?
I watch Big Brother, okay?
Why?
Because my wife got me into it. And my mom. They both like it. I had nothing better to do.
Just go watch
go
Big
spend
Brother.
time with them. And it's actually pretty awesome.
There's no way that it's actually pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. There's a lot of betrayal and strategizing, and you actually have to compete in games, and it's awesome. I really like it. I'm not going to lie.
Please don't on this show, even if it's something as ridiculous as I watch Big Brother.
Yeah. But yeah, Christmas, come on. We need your help. We need your help, girl.
Please don't. I'm officially
I've got 4 weddings at the end of this year that I need some help, girl.
4 weddings?
Probably 4. Maybe it's 3. But yeah, towards, let's say this.
Okay.
Q4 and Q1, at least 3 weddings.
Good grief. Yeah, you definitely do need abs for all those weddings that you're going to go to.
Yeah, because we had to rearrange our tables so my fat didn't hang off the edge.
Okay, so that is like the worst thing about the video that we've added is like I've noticed that there's like this giant chunk of just...
After episode 1, I was sitting there watching it like, we're going to have to move those tables.
Yeah, this has got to... So this is not... These tables aren't moved because we think that this is a better shot. These tables are moved purely out of vanity.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to share that with you.
So I haven't gotten to actually talking about abs by Christmas, but it's a problem, which is why we're doing
abs by Christmas is a problem.
No. It's having fat hanging over and not being able to fit into my fancy clothes, my fancy boy clothes, my big boy clothes. I haven't worn. I mean, I've been at home for 6 months with COVID, due to COVID. Not with COVID.
Yeah, I've been at home with 6 months with COVID.
Due to COVID, I've been at home for 6 months. And I have put on probably 40, 50 pounds. And that's a problem when it comes to either going and buying a brand new wardrobe to go to these things or renting a tux, which I don't want to do. Or I've got perfectly good clothes sitting at home, really nice stuff that I can currently not fit into. So how are we going to solve that? And you and I came up with
abs
by Christmas, which is abs by Christmas. And then Christmas Day, our wives get to unwrap the present.
Yeah. And we'll have a 6-pack.
Yeah. And
or
it's
at least we'll have tried really hard to have a 6-pack.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard. So I'll go into what I'm doing. So I'm doing keto. When was this? It was 2019. No, it was 2018.
All right.
I was above 300 pounds, and I started doing keto. With not working out, I have never been a gym rat. I never wanted to go to the gym.
Sure.
I went with you a couple times to try it out, and I was like, this is not me.
To try it out.
But really, I wasn't ready for it. So one thing I really liked about keto is I started seeing the weight coming off, and it really encouraged me to keep doing it. Okay. And also, let's step it up a notch.
Right.
Because I started seeing some of the payoff. So I'm doing keto again because I stopped really when we moved the beginning of this, or the very end of last year, beginning of this year. Haven't done anything, haven't been dieting, stopped going to the gym, especially with COVID and everything going on.
Yeah, because the gym experience now is much
it's
different.
It's interesting. Yeah. So I re-upped my gym membership, started going. I just turned my flashlight on.
You did. So are you going to? You going to the Y?
The Y.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like the Y. Like
there's nothing wrong with
there's
the
a couple
Y.
benefits to it. They have a gym. You have a better gym than I have at home, which is nothing aside from
you have a Bowflex.
A Bowflex.
Yeah.
And also they have a bunch of sports. So we signed.
They have a bunch of sports?
Sports like for kids, kid sports. I think they have the league.
So you're
leagues
participating
through the Y.
in kids sports now?
I'm not, but my son will be.
Oh, okay.
Because when we moved to Keller, Texas, they are very competitive in everything.
Yeah.
And while I'm into that, if my son is into it, he wants like a rec league. He wants to go play and have fun, and they're like traveling all around.
Oh yeah.
So we signed up for whatever, I don't know, was Keller.
Yeah, you're not trying to pay like $12,000 a year so that your son can be in select baseball and
also
on a traveling team.
And also it would be like, oh, there's a Saturday game and it's an hour and a half away. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
We have fields. We have perfectly good fields.
Yeah, why are we going to play these kids
within
in
a
East Texas?
5-mile radius?
Right.
So anyways, if he were into it, if he really wanted to do that, that'd be fine. But
he doesn't care.
No, he just wants to go, again, for him, it's not like, oh, I want to be a soccer player or whatever. He enjoys soccer. He has fun. That's about it. He's not going to be the next Polo.
Polo?
Yeah, that's the only guy I know.
Pele?
Pele. That's what I meant.
You don't even know a guy.
No, I don't. There's another guy.
Shout out to Polo,
there's
the
another
soccer
guy
player.
I know.
Rafa Nadal?
No.
Yeah, okay. He plays tennis. That's good.
Yeah. Starts with an M. Messy.
Yay! Yeah.
Messy.
Well done.
I got that one down.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Those are the reasons.
You got it.
So those are the reasons that I like the Y. I feel like I have to explain it because it's not as cool as like a Gold's Gym or.
How is it not as cool as a Gold's Gym? It's not as cool as like the Gold's Gym.
YMCA.
Okay, so those guys ruined it. It's
not as cool.
The Village people ruined
the Village people ruined it.
Oh well.
Yeah, I don't appreciate that, you guys.
Yeah, they did. They did make the YMCA sound less than butch.
Yeah. So anyways, so I went. The whole mask thing was odd, but also I was pleasantly surprised to find out that they limit the amount of people in. They've shut down enough machines to maintain the 6 foot.
Oh yeah.
Which is fine because so far I haven't been held at the door where they say no, you can't come in. We're at capacity.
Right.
So far there haven't been enough.
Have
people.
you seen
It's
that
fine.
happen to somebody though?
No.
Okay.
But also when I go, it looks good. Like there's plenty of space.
Yeah.
I don't know if that just means no one's going to the gym.
Well, there are fewer people that are going to the gym than there have been
there
previously.
You go. Bonus, because I don't like going with a bunch of people around anyways. So I went, started working out. And
no, are you doing cardio or are you just doing weights?
So when I started a year ago or a year and a half ago and lost a whole bunch of weights, I started with cardio.
Right.
But then transitioned to weights after I got the nerve up, and I love it.
Right, yeah.
Weight training is
great.
Way better. It's way more fun.
Yeah.
Like I tried Camp Gladiator. Never again will I do that. For me, hated it.
Yeah. It doesn't work. Some people it works great. We're
That's
not those
me.
guys.
That's not me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. Like I got up at
whenever somebody says that's not
a.m.
me, I think of the Saturday Night Live guy, Drunk Uncle. That's not me. Oh. So I'm not too fast, too furious. That's not me.
That's not me.
That's not anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's him.
Anyway, yeah.
I got up at 5, I think it was 5 a.m.
Nice.
Drove out to
the Y.
No.
Oh, you're talking about Camp Gladiator.
No. The benefit of a gym is you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. in the dang morning.
Well, see,
some people do.
I'm that guy. I'm the early.
I'm
gym
a morning guy, but I'm not 5 a.m.
Oh, I'm 5:30. 5:30 in the morning.
I'll wake up at 6.
Milking my cows. Jebediah feeds the chickens, and Jacob
plows. Fool.
Yeah. So
and I've been milking and plowing so long that even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Do you remember the Christian band Apologetics?
No.
I just heard some guys recently talking about this. They were a Christian band that took like secular music and then put Christian lyrics to secular music.
So it was like a Christian Weird Al.
Yeah.
That sounds awful on paper.
But I think it was funny, right? I just remember the titles of some of their songs, like the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bethlehemian.
Yeah, like there were some of those.
That's
things
a pretty
really
awesome title.
It is very cute.
Yeah.
But I don't remember anything that they did. I just remember that a couple of the titles were kind of funny.
The title is awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're gonna have to back it up.
Okay, so with Camp Gladiator.
Oh my gosh, dude!
But you were like in a parking lot, right? Or
I was in a parking
lot.
In a
field.
I was it was a business parking lot. It was 5 a.m.
Right.
No one's there.
Yeah, nobody's doing business at 5
everyone was super nice. I'm not trying to say that like it wasn't a nice
Camp
experience
Gladiator
from
was
that.
jerks. It wasn't Greg running it.
No. But there were all of these women kicking my butt with all of these things that I was like, because I've been working out for like, I don't know, 8 months or so. I was in the best shape of my life, technically.
Sure.
Which, I mean, for scale is not that was the best shape I've been in because that's the only time I put in effort.
Well, we're going to use your personal graph. This is the peak.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That was my peak. They kicked my butt.
Right.
They said, okay, we're going to do bear crawls across I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Across the parking lot. Hated it.
Yeah, bear crawls
We're going to do
awful.
these jumping jacks. Hated it. I will get on a track and I'll put my headphones in and I'll be fine. I'll do a couple miles, enjoy it. I would do the sprinting. What's it called? Burst sprinting, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Where you just
I'm not familiar with this.
Where you do really short interval. That's what
high intensity interval
there
training.
You go. Yeah.
Hips.
Yeah. Where I basically would run for end to end. I would run, but then I'd slow down and cool off from it, and I'd run, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, like in gym class, whenever you were growing up, you had to like sprint the straights and walk the curves or whatever.
But no one was telling me. That's probably what it boils down to, is no one was telling me to do it. And at Camp Gladiator, they're telling you what to do, and they're coming over and bringing you heavier weights. I'm like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, don't push this on me.
Yeah, I can lift heavier weight than that. But the fact that you're bringing it to me, I don't want to do it. So it may have been like a half-hearted attempt.
Like also. your own rebellion.
But also on the way home, I almost threw up.
Ooh, how many times did you try Camp Gladiator?
One time.
Oh, that was it. That's all it took.
I signed up 2 or 3 more times after that. Like, oh, okay, I'll try it again. I'll go Monday, and then Monday 5 a.m. rolled up. I was like, nope,
this is not happening.
And I'd go to the gym,
right?
Because I enjoy it. Like, I don't know, that to me, again, Camp Gladiator. All the best of luck. I know there's a lot of people that enjoy it.
I think they're going to do just fine without your endorsement.
Yeah. Not for me.
Yeah, both the people that listen to this podcast are not going to.
I'm trying not to slander Camp Gladiator, which I realize has gotten a lot of people into working out.
And it does have its place.
But give me some weights. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Put on some heavy metal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Lincoln Park, you know. It's not really Linkin Park.
Okay, good. I was like, I don't know that counts as heavy metal.
No, it worked out to Disciple lately.
Yeah.
And before that, it was Prince, which is not heavy metal. But
no, not at all.
It's good workout music. And before that was Queen.
I've been...
Queen is awesome to work out to.
Yeah, no doubt. I've been working out to a lot of podcasts. And
I know. Oh, I did listen. I listened to Two Bears, One Cave today.
Okay.
Also.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell me.
Was it awesome? I mean, did it help you with your workout? Was it motivating?
So I like podcasts when I'm doing cardio.
Yeah.
Because I just need to zone out for 20 minutes or
I'm
30
reading
minutes
when I'm
whatever.
doing cardio right now.
Yeah. So something like that would be good. Because otherwise, I don't like... Again, I like tracks.
Right, because you'll start clock watching.
Yes.
And it's the worst. Because if you determine, hey, I'm going to do a half hour of this... And then you start doing cardio, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I've been on this for like at least a half hour."
It's boring,
and it's like 3 minutes.
Yeah,
like, there's no way.
That's the problem. It's boring. Weightlifting is not boring.
No. There's like an end goal to it.
Yeah.
Right.
So how are you doing now? I've talked your ear off.
It's so the going to the gym part for me is easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing what for me were my normal splits. So I would have a day where I did legs. My splits are legs, shoulders, arms, back, chest, and then a secondary shoulders
butt
day.
cheeks.
And then that's with legs. And then another arm day.
Okay.
So I'm full 7 days a week, and I'm back into that full swing with at least a half hour of cardio every day. Well, at the beginning of this year, I set a goal for myself to read on average a book a week. And we talked about this in an earlier episode that I don't think aired, but that essentially like I got to this one book and it stalled me out. And not just like stalled me out for a little while.
1984?
It stalled me out.
Is that what
No.
Okay.
This was our friend's book, The Good Doctor. And his book stalled me out for like 6 to 8 weeks. Well, now I'm back on track.
That's not a good endorsement.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm not naming names. But I got into the 30s now. So I finished 1984. I finished Woke by Titania McGrath, which I do not recommend to 90% of just regular breathing human beings. But Andrew Doyle, the man who created the character Titania McGrath is who wrote the book. So he wrote the book as this character. Make some very salient, albeit vile, points in the book about how social justice is taking and morphing a large part of what we're doing. So I've got 2 more that I'm almost done with: Tactics by Greg Kokel and Don't Quit Before You Finish by Dr. Jimmy Draper. So I'm working through those 2, and I'm about to reload, but I haven't figured out what I'm going to look at yet. So I've been reading a lot on the treadmill for that reason, because it falls in line with what I'm doing and everything else in order to try to accomplish multiple things at once, right? Because I'm have to be doing more than one thing.
You have to engage your body and your mind at the same time.
So the only time when I don't focus on, or when I'm not doing more than one thing, is actually when I'm lifting. And that's I am like body mind focused on.
That's what I'm saying. You are focused on
only.
It.
And I've been using a method that was developed by, oh man, I just lost the guy's name. It was developed by Lanny Basham. That's the guy's name. And Lanny is an Olympic gold medalist in sports shooting. So with the air rifle. So he's got a .22 air rifle. He wins the Olympic gold medal.
What a wuss.
Sort of. Like you wouldn't want to be downrange from him.
I also wouldn't want to say that to him if he were in studio.
Well, no doubt. And Laney's a great guy. So I did his granddaughter's wedding. I officiated. Well, cool. I did their premarital and helped with their wedding some. So anyway, so Laney and his sons Troy and Brian and his daughter Heather have developed this thing called the mental management systems. Actually, Rogan talked about it a little bit, and so they sold a ton of books since then. But they have the mental management system, which is a book. Troy's written at least one called Attainment, which talks about like the 12 things and how they work into the mental management system. But they have a journal, and in the journal, you essentially at the end of your workouts or whatever it is that you're doing. So they work with a lot of pro golfers, with Olympic archers, with Olympic air rifle shooters, literally from all over the world, that talk to them, and they're helping them in their one-to-one things. So it's really incredible what these people have been able to do, what the Bashams and their family have done. So there's a journal where you talk about like, what are the things that you did good in your workout? What are the things that you did poorly? Do you feel like you ran your mental management system in each one of your?
I like that.
Oh, it's great.
Because I basically think that way, just not as structured. Yeah, because I'll do something. I'm like, you know what? Some days I'm like, oh man, it was a great workout. And some days it's just like, dude.
And this
it's not a waste of time, but it was not good.
And so this has slowed me up quite a bit.
So you're not rushing through it?
Right. And so like when, for instance, today I did legs. And so when I go for each squat, it's first did I walk into the rack properly? Is the bar positioned on my back? Am I in good posture? And then when I go down, there are cues whenever you go down. So am I breathing in? Are my feet properly separated? Do I feel like I'm spreading the floor so that my knees stay out?
Say it again.
Spreading the floor.
Okay.
Right. So when you plant your feet for a squat, you want to feel like you're spreading the floor out, like you're trying to push the floor apart.
Okay. I didn't
know
that
way it keeps your knees out, because a lot of people, they have knee issues when they squat because their knees tend to buckle on the inside. But if you're pushing your knees out, then it keeps them in proper
I did know
alignment.
that. You want to angle them out.
Okay. Right. So the idea, like thinking about it as spreading the floor, right? So am I spreading the floor? Have my hamstrings touch my calves when they do? So there's my cue for going up. So up, push out, and then bring everything up, and then try to, instead of thinking about it as like pushing your hips and everything up, it's to try to pull your head towards the ceiling, because that keeps you in proper posture. So that's the mental management system that I work for every rep, and it. I mean, once you get into the groove of it, it happens pretty quick. Well, there's a question in the journal: how well did you run your mental management system? And so it's, I ran it well 10% of the time, 20% of the time. I did it 80% of the time really well. And so you have to answer those questions for each exercise, for each set. And it's been tremendous in helping with my overall training, in getting to a level where hopefully, if I never compete in anything again, at least I'll be in shape to where I could if I wanted to. So that's been a big part.
You will.
I don't know.
I know you've had some issues.
Well,
or catastrophes, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's been weird, but like as much as I want to get back into competition, one of the things that I'm realizing is that when I start to get in that mode, it takes away from other aspects of my life. That like working out and being athletic is something that's important to me, because it sort of sets my brain right on being disciplined. And especially in the mornings, what I've found out is that if I'm doing something that exhausts me early in the morning, I'm able to focus way better for the rest of the day.
That is the opposite of me.
Oh man. So it's almost like, and
It's like fight or flight is what it sounds like. That if you get all your energy out, that you're able to calm and focus on something.
Yeah, and that helps. Well, and so when I was what I consider like at peak is if I do something in the morning that takes a lot of energy and effort, and then if I do something at night that does it, then I'm really at my peak. So it used to be that I would train in the morning.
You do too.
And then I would do the entire day, and then I would train jiu-jitsu for a couple hours every night during the week. And that is when I actually felt like I had the most focus and was at my best, is when I was doing 2 things to book in my day where I was just completely spent and exhausted. And for some people, the way that the brain mapping works is that they can't do that. If they ever end up completely exhausted during any part of the day, then for a certain amount of people that can lead to depression or allows a door to be opened for and a lot of addicts. And we talk about this in addiction recovery, that some people that if you're at the point of exhaustion, then you put yourself in a position where you're vulnerable to addiction. I am the opposite. If I'm not exhausted, my brain works at such a weird level.
If you're not exhausted, you really crave a cigarette.
I'm essentially, I'm looking for something to kind of taper and bring me down, which is why, there's a lot of people who have said, maybe you're an adult ADD or ADHD diagnosis, and maybe I am, but I don't want to take anything for it because I know, hey, if I do these things, then it helps me out a lot. And so we're restarting now with the working out and using that mental management system book, and the journal has been absolutely tremendous.
Concept. So that's a really cool concept.
So big shouts out to Troy and Laney and Brian, and I think Heather is their sister's name, for putting that together. And if you guys want to check it out, mentalmanagementsystems.com. Absolutely phenomenal. And no matter what your workout program is or the style of thing that you're wanting to do, tracking those things has become huge. And so through tracking my workouts, it got me back into tracking my intake on food for the diet. And one of the things that's been so important for me on that aspect is I'm never under-fueled. So there's a lot of times whenever I've done diets or meal plans in the past, I've realized I'm having to call them that because people are like, oh, why are you on a diet? You're fine. Why are you on a diet? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on a meal program.
It just means that I'm choosing to eat a certain way.
Right. So that if I'm not tracking it, I tend to be under-fueled. In the sense that I will be so worried about what I'm going to eat, and potentially if I have this piece of sugar, then it's going to blow up my diet for the day or whatever.
And then you may as well have a large pizza.
Right. That's how your brain works. But
that's how my brain works.
Yeah, for sure. But when I'm tracking it, if I look at it and I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't really need a piece of sugar because in, about 3 hours, I'm about to have, 2/3 of a cup of Greek yogurt. What I'm realizing is, okay, you know what? I haven't eaten for 2 hours. If I have, 4 ounces of chicken, might that be enough to sate me? And
4 ounces of chicken is not enough.
It's a great snack, but it's not a meal.
Yes, I
agree. And so that's been a big thing. And realizing that in the morning, oh, well, why do I feel underfueled? Oh, you know what? I need a carrot, or I haven't eaten in 4 hours, and that's an issue. So tracking those things has been really good as well.
That's what I like about keto, because I got real into tracking macros. And, again, I did it for 7 or 8 months, so I ended up just kind of going, okay, I got this. I've got my repertoire of meals that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
In keto, I think, I've had a bunch of people ask me oh, that's the bacon diet, right? It's well, I mean,
sort of.
You can eat bacon on it. You should not just eat bacon.
Yeah, eating only bacon is probably bad for you.
Right. So I have bacon.
Do you?
Yeah, but
you own bacon or you eat bacon? Both. Yeah.
I will say my bacon intake has increased since I'm doing keto again.
As it should.
Just because I'm really getting back into it. But
right.
You made fun of me a bunch, but I've had some bomb salads lately. I made my own ranch completely from scratch, not from a little
packet.
Little packet. No, I got buttermilk and sour cream and mayo and fresh dill. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I know, you're giggling again, but I'm telling you, it was good. It was really
I'm just
good.
giggling because you said fresh dill.
Yeah, it was fresh dill.
Yeah.
I put a bunch of pecans on it and chicken and egg and bacon. It was amazing.
That sounds good.
It was an awesome salad. And it was the first time I'd eaten a salad in like 3 months or something.
But how many eggs are you taking in a day?
So that's why I don't know if you heard my voice.
I heard your voice message.
Because I was thinking about it. I was on the way to the gym, and I remember you had said something like, I eat 8 to 12 eggs a day.
I do.
And I started thinking, that's a lot of cartons. Now, you do have like 100 chickens, but they're not producing eggs.
They're not. First off, no, the chickens aren't producing eggs yet. And second, the number of the chickens is down. Not because of...
Well, it wasn't 100. I was
I think over the course of the summer, we've sent over 100 chickens out there to Matt's place.
Okay, cool. So the number of chickens are down.
And this will be the
sad reasons or happy reasons?
No.
Chicken nuggets is a happy reason.
Yeah, chicken nuggets is a happy reason. So the last batch for
there's a quote, Heather.
For this, the last batch for sad reasons or happy reasons. I just like for sad reasons or happy reasons.
Yeah.
So the number of chickens is going to be diminished because we're sending out the last batch of chickens that Matt needs to go out to Pink Moon Farms. Check them out on Instagram, PINCK. And the last batch is going out to them, and then we'll just have the ones we have that are going to be our permanent residents at the house, and we're going to reevaluate because we didn't get any more.
You're going to keep some. I don't think we've ever gotten to that. You were always raising these for Matt and Autumn,
right?
But I was wondering if you're ever going to end up with a couple.
We are, and so since we've got such an array of chickens. We're keeping the ones that we think are the coolest, right? So they're going to get some really odd, like cool chickens out there at their place, but we're keeping like a few. So what Kirsten wants is she wants, instead of having like a bunch of chickens that are great layers, she wants a chicken menagerie.
Okay.
And so we've got some chickens that are barred rock that are like black with like some white speckles.
I can appreciate that.
We've got some Polish chickens that have like big giant poofs on their heads. We've got some Spitzhaubens which have mohawks on their heads. We've got some Frizzles that look like they have perms. We have a female Brahma who we've named Lady Clucks. We've got a Polish who is gray with a big white poof on her head that is the Earlist gray, because we found like that was like the most feminine way that you could say Earl. The Earlist gray. And
is that what a female Earl is? Is an Earless?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think
It's probably Lady Gray.
Look at it. Could be Lady Gray, but we already have Lady Clucks. It might be Duchess Gray.
Okay.
We might go with Duchess Gray. And then we have.
You're right. You do have a lady already. So that's a little.
So we've got an assortment of a few that we're going to keep, and most of them are long term going to be decent layers. So between like 2 and 250 eggs a year, and then we've got a couple of them that are going to. Some of them that can actually produce 2 eggs a day that we'll keep, but it'll at least cut our costs down a little bit. However, whenever we go out to Matt and Autumn's place, even right now, they're sending us back with a bucket of probably close to 40, 50 eggs each time we go out there.
You're about to say chicken nuggets.
No, because they're getting almost that many a day. What I'm really trying to convince my wife to do is to let me get some meat birds, but she's just not on board.
What breed is the meat bird typically?
So there's a couple of different ones. There's like the Jersey Giant, which is one.
You'll say some kind of big.
Right. And then there are some that are crosses. So you'll get a cross that's like part Cornish and then part like Jersey Giant or Rhode Island Red or something like that, where they cross them. And these birds are, people are like, oh, they're genetically engineered. They're not. They're crosses that happen naturally whenever the chickens are around each other. It's not like somebody's going into a lab and doing this. But because the birds are so big and muscular that if you don't harvest them, meaning to slaughter the chicken and get the meat, by like the time they're 8 to 10 years old, so they don't reach maturity. But by the time that they're 8 to 10 years old, if you're not doing it because of having just a giant, 2 giant chickens as part of their bloodline, what will happen is that you either have to begin to taper off the amount of food that they get so that you're only feeding them so much a day, or they'll eat so much that they kill themselves, and their hearts will explode because they're not able to lift their chest up off the ground. So there's a lot of things that you have to do.
And then you can't eat it, the heart.
Right. Yeah, because the
chicken hearts, which is a thing that I've had them, but it was weird. It was like a weird thing to try.
It is a weird thing to try, but it's also
chicken hearts.
It's also prepared in a certain way that like the blood is drained out of it, because if the blood gets onto everything,
it's not squishy and like, it's not like a gusher.
Yeah, it is the muscle, right? So when a chicken's heart explodes, it contaminates everything that's in all of the meat, and so it's not that it's no good, but most of the time it takes it and it spoils it. The same way that like if you were cleaning a deer, and then the fur of the deer got on the meat you're using, you can watch the meat will turn brown right before your eyes because all of the stuff that was on the meat or on the fur got onto the meat and it instantly contaminates it. So this kind of does a similar thing.
I've never been hunting.
We should change that.
I think so too.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I think it's time.
Danley's first hunting trip.
But yeah, I have thought of that a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Whether it's just duck or bird hunting or whatever. It's probably a nice intro, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we should take Uller out.
Okay.
Because he's a phenomenal bird hunting dog. We can go there and check some stuff out. Yeah, that'd be great. So talk to me this week about your here's some stuff that I like. What's some stuff that you like, Danley?
Oh man.
Yeah. I know some stuff that you want.
What is that?
You want a bidet?
Oh, yeah. I want a bidet.
Why?
I think toilet paper is inefficient.
Have you ever used one?
No. I've been overseas. Haven't used it. So maybe I should try it first, but where am I going to try it unless I just get one?
Well, sure. I mean, there are some hotels in the area
that have bidets.
Yeah, there are. There are a couple. But I will.
La Madeleine.
I will tell you. No, they don't just have that at La Madeleine. That's a restaurant. I mean, jacked. So I will tell you that like the appeal of the bidet is there. It's definitely more hygienic than toilet paper and all of that stuff. But what most people don't understand about the bidet is that you actually have to use your hand. So that's why I did
not actually know that. Yeah. But I got to rethink this now.
Right. So there's a lot of places, like in India, for example, you only shake with the right hand.
What if?
Because the left hand is the cleaning hand.
But then clean up with toilet paper. Is that the best of both worlds, or is that overkill?
I think it's just extra.
Well, because toilet paper is made when it gets wet to fall apart, so it's not the best like scrubbing paper.
Sure.
Like a paper towel. Maybe you need a paper towel, bidet and a paper towel. You just can't flush it. You gotta have a poop trash can.
I think we've just added a bunch of extra steps into something and just made it worse.
You gotta have a poop trash can.
Yeah.
There's another quote.
We're gonna have a ton of it. This is great. But yeah, you gotta,
or a Q-tip. Just go and
gotta to quote my Indian friend, you really got to get in there with the hand in order to make it work.
Yeah. Okay. I don't love that.
You off of that?
I love the bidet idea of cleaning every time,
right?
Refreshing, like all of that sounds great.
I've got a buddy who gets in the shower after every time.
I'm kind of on board for that, especially working from home. Like who's the
right? So no, he would do this.
5 minutes for a poop, 1 minute for a spritz.
We took a 7 minute or 7 minute, 7 hour. Yeah, 7 minute. We took a 7 hour drive, and about hour 3 he had to go, and he waited until we got to the hotel room to go. So he was like in pain by the end of this
because he has to take a shower after.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the appeal. I wouldn't be in pain, but
right.
I also don't take a shower after.
Yeah, but that's his thing. He has to shower after every time.
Yeah,
it's a little odd.
So
everybody's got their stuff.
Other toilet humor. Today, I had to tell my wife to. Oh man, I don't remember exactly what it was, but we're at home together. I work, and when I have probably very few breaks. Toilet break is one of them. So she came in to talk to me, and I was trying to accomplish something, get something completed. And I had to tell her can you please back up or go sit down so I can finish this? Because she literally was right here talking to me in my face because she loves me.
Sure.
And I'm glad that she's in my space. But I had that after I said that to her. I was like, this is what marriage is. Is telling the other person like, hey, I'm trying to poop. Can you back up a little bit?
See,
just give me a little bit of space.
I don't.
I'm perfectly fine with you being in here. In fact, I want you to be in here because I want to talk. We're weird. Okay, when you've been married for this long, it's like I'm bored. Either I'm going to be on my phone or come in here and talk to me. I do the same thing when I take a bath. I'll tell her to come in.
Okay,
like, come in and sit down. And she'll sit in the chair and talk to me.
Okay. Okay, so having been married now for 6 months, so I'm an expert.
You're an expert,
on marriage.
yeah.
I'm a marriage expert.
Tell me what you've learned.
Yeah. The bath thing I can get, right? Because it's just, you're just hanging out.
There's nothing to do other than being on your phone or
what you don't want to
relax.
Yeah, so in the...
I don't relax with
one
nothing.
Of the things
I get
that I was
anxious
told,
with nothing going on.
Be anxious for nothing, but in all things through
I'm saying when nothing's going on.
So I've had to take baths since my knee surgery. It's one of the things they suggested that I do is to take...
sissy.
I know. Is to take some Epsom salt baths. I heard you. So
Epsom salt baths.
Awesome.
100%
great,
awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things they suggested.
You left that detail out. When you said, I got to take baths. You should have said, I got to take Epsom salt baths. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what
for muscles.
Having me do. Right.
It's guy stuff.
It's totally
it's very manly.
Taking a bath.
Very manly.
I'm using that as another place to read. What I have cool. found though is my life hack for when I don't want to read is that we've got TV trays, and I'll set up a TV tray and the iPad and watch like an episode of something. It does feel a little though, like every now and then whenever they break the fourth wall in a show and they're like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh. I'm like trying to cover up.
Yeah. Push it into the bath.
That's been a little weird. But I think it's one thing to talk with your spouse in the bath, but it's another when you're doing evil.
Fast forward 3 or 4 years, and that's not going to be a policy.
I don't know. I know some very happily married couples, and that's one of the rules that they've had. They actually refer to it as the closed door policy.
Yeah, that doesn't work in our house.
Yeah, well,
I mean, typically,
and each marriage got to learn its own boundaries.
So first off, women don't do that.
Yeah,
but
that's
when
right.
she closes the door, I typically leave her alone unless I need to get in there for something. Like I got to get a shirt out or whatever. Then I'll go in. But aside from that, I'll leave her alone to do her the imaginary thing that does not happen with women.
What I think is one of the greatest inventions ever is the water closet.
Okay.
So like in the master, so if you walk into a lot of master bathrooms,
there's an actual other little bitty room.
Yep, that they can close the door
I don't
to
have
for the
that,
toilet.
but I'm on board.
Yeah, well, I'll help you build one.
I want to do something else first.
I will help you close. You want to put the bidet on there first?
No. You know our patio?
Yeah.
So we've got our master extends out into the backyard. We've got this nice little patio. I want to enclose that patio all the way to the master.
Okay.
I want to do some kind of an add-on or maybe just a screened in. I don't know, but I want to have. I need a. This has happened too many times that we've got 15 people over, and we've got a table that seats, 5.
Right.
If we had that outdoor screen-in patio, we could have family events and stuff going on.
Yeah.
And we don't really use the patio. I use it very occasionally because mosquitoes.
Sure.
I went out there last night with my brother, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Tell Leslie I said hey, by the way.
Yeah.
Now that he's back in town. Yeah.
He may come on. I'm trying to get him on.
Oh, really?
Yep.
To talk about...
That's what he asked.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I was like, look, this is my favorite part about podcasting.
Yeah.
Is I started this. I wanted to do this with you for a long time, but it turned. If
you've been listening, you know that is a blatant lie. That is a blatant lie.
Why?
Because
I said
you wanted to do this with someone else for a long time.
No.
And I was Dan Lee's. Not only was I Dan Lee's second choice, but I had to initiate the beginning of this podcast.
Out.
Anyway, please
there was something else
story.
that I wanted to do with something else. There was something else I wanted to do with someone else. This was not it.
Okay.
There was another thing that's completely unrelated.
Who are you going to believe, America? The Reverend or the Reprobate?
Listen, everyone listening is part of my Reprobates. They're on my team. That's what I've nicknamed all my
the
followers.
reprobats.
They're my reprobats.
Nice. Okay, so anyway.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
It's my favorite way to have a conversation.
Because everybody else
I
gets
don't
to
know. There's some of that. Yeah.
Right.
There's some of that you and I were in a band together.
You were in my band, but go ahead. That's been one of the funniest things for me is people are like, so how do you guys know each other?
Just
I'm
messing with me.
Danley used to play guitar for me.
You do it all the time. But there is some component of performing and improving and all that stuff that I do really enjoy.
Well, with your brother, I think in particular, one of the things that would be interesting to talk to him about is how COVID has affected
our mom. Sorry. Yeah, COVID.
Well, how COVID's affected his industry.
Yeah.
Because it's all but destroyed large chunks of the world that he's in. And it's not something that we often think about, even when we tend to be so focused on what's happening with us and what's happening with our, our people, our family, our tribe, however you want to look at it, that seeing somebody that's outside of all of that does something in an industry that we're not familiar with, how that affects them and how it's really affected our economy as a whole, I think is going to be a really interesting thing. So I would love to have Leslie on to talk to him about that stuff.
Me too. So, so for context, he lives in Nashville, which is music and
it's production.
It's really music and production, and that's what he does. And it's just I don't want to steal all his thunder, but it's
been hammered.
Yeah, anyone that's in the music industry, we actually have a couple buddies that are that they perform. There's the outlet to that now is digital, and so a lot of people are having to figure that out. And how do I get a revenue stream based on that? How do I monetize it? It's tough, man. Yeah,
and so I was actually talking with a friend of mine this past week, and so he's moved to, they're doing online concerts. And what they're finding is that their audience is better on a platform like Twitch, but it's easier for them to monetize on Facebook because Facebook has a pay piece that they do.
Where you can donate, or is it to view it you have to subscribe to it?
No, it's not a viewing it that you have to subscribe to it, but
so it's just like send $5 to.
Yeah, or that you can, if they're playing, you can tip them for whatever.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I meant a tip.
Yeah, and so
that's cool because there's a bunch of them that I would do that.
Absolutely, right? And Facebook's got a thing where you can donate for churches and things like that. And so we haven't really explored that avenue very much because we don't know what the end is like. And what they've found is that there are some holds that Facebook has put on their money. And some other things, right? So there's a lot of kind of catches that are part of that. So they're sorting that out, but they have found that as they've done stuff on Facebook that they're getting a much larger revenue stream than when they were doing things on Twitch and just putting their Venmo on there because it's one less thing that you have to do on Facebook. So if you're already linked up to use Facebook Pay, then you just click it and you're like, oh, here's $25, thanks for what you're doing. Whereas on Twitch, they put the Venmo account, then you got to log into your Venmo and do that. And people don't want extra steps; they just want.
I'm the same way.
Just an easy click. Yeah, I am too. Right. Yeah. The more convenient you make it nature. For me, yeah.
Make it as easy as a click, and I'm in.
Right. Yeah. The easier you make it for me, the easier it is for me to participate in. So that's it. So stuff that you like. Did you like that Jake ate your tree?
So maybe we'll put up a picture or something.
Okay.
I've got a couple pictures already, but
yeah.
So my dog,
Jake.
At first this was a funny thing. He's a German Shepherd.
Is he a full German Shepherd or is he a mix?
We believe he's half. We rescued him.
Okay.
We believe he's half Australian Shepherd and German Shepherd. He looks pretty much like a German Shepherd, except for his legs, which have spots on it, kind of like the Australian.
Aussies, yeah.
But yeah, so this whole thing started where he would get we would rile him up because it's a fun thing to do to dogs, right? We'd rile him up and we'd say something about, hey, there's a squirrel outside.
Yeah, get him excited.
Which a bunch of people do. And so he would charge out there at the tree and bark at the squirrel, and we would laugh and say, good job. And he'd come in, and that led to him biting the tree. Because the squirrel was up there. He wants to get that dang squirrel down.
Sure.
And if you fast forward, really it was like a month. It wasn't a whole lot of time.
Uh-huh.
He started really doing some damage to the tree. he's almost chewed the bark in a circle around the tree. He could very well have killed this tree.
Oh,
he's determined to cut this tree in half.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's doing it. I'm so proud of him. He's doing such a great job.
He's
but also,
a lumberjack and he's
stop
okay.
It.
Yeah.
So we put the stop on that. But yeah, it's I gotta admit it's one of those things it's kind of as a dad thing. I'm
right.
So proud. Like he's been so determined to get this dang squirrel. He's eating a live oak in half.
Good grief.
Yeah. And not only that, but up high, really high. Like I gotta reach up to touch it.
Uh-huh.
There's this knot on the tree that he attacks to for whatever reason.
Weird.
Yeah. So he's mostly stopped it because we've started coaching, training him to.
Do you have like the sour apple spray that you can put on it? Because we use that sometimes.
No, there's that. There's some chicken wire, some different things. I made the call that I think we can train him not to, because we trained him to. Well, it was a funny thing.
Now you got to detrain.
We'll just train him not to.
Untrain?
Yeah. We'll train him to do the opposite. Well, he is a very trainable dog. That's a good thing. Is we've trained him to do all kinds of cool stuff. And unfortunately, we trained him to bite this tree in half. One of the cool things that
you taught him to do is to bite the tree in half.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that's not one thing that I like, but it's one thing I am oddly proud of. Is I've got a part German Shepherd, part Beaver. So what about you? What's one thing you like?
I think that's pretty amazing. So I bought the first video game that I purchased in probably a year yesterday.
Avengers?
And it is the Avengers video game.
Oh, okay. I want to know about this.
Okay, so it's and we're gonna have the wonderfully talented and just fabulous human being Neil Rohn, the proprietor of Boomerang Comics, on with us. What will essentially be next week, to talk about some of the new comics and things that are coming out, but also the way that the Marvel and the DC universes are expanding, because now, video games are becoming canonized storylines. The movies obviously are now, instead of them being like their own standalone things, like they're becoming part of the larger canon that happens within the universes as they relate to the comic books in some instances, which is kind of a cool thing, but also sort of a weird deal. So as all of that stuff is happening, that affects his world a lot. So I'm curious as to how some of that goes. But this game follows Kamala Khan, who is a really new...
Miss Marvel?
Yes. But she's a really new character within Marvel itself, because Miss Marvel, the original, used to be like the sort of blonde bombshell that they drew for most of the feminine comic people.
Him.
Yeah. For most of the female comics that you saw in the 70s and 80s, and as that grew. So she was a character that was a lot like, as far as from an appearance standpoint, a lot like Captain Marvel, right? Yeah. And Kamala Khan is decidedly not that. Not in the sense that she isn't a strong female character, but she is a Middle Eastern background. Her parents are practicing Muslims. Mm-hmm. Well, her mom is not in the picture, and it's alluded to that her mom passed away. At least in the video game it is. And I don't know a ton about the character outside of that, but so that's one of the big things. She's being raised by her dad. Her dad talks to her a lot about going to the mosque and that kind of thing, even within the game. And she makes a decision not to, and you essentially follow her throughout the story as she is trying to re-recruit the Avengers.
This sounds like a terrible video game.
Yeah. So like, the way that the video game starts out...
The dad sits around talking about how she needs to go to church and she doesn't want to.
Right. Yeah, she needs to go to the mosque.
Yeah.
Boy, that'll get us
She's
canceled.
like, no, Dad, I don't want to.
Well,
and she leaves.
So what happens in the beginning of the game...
So does she also have superpowers? Because this sounds really lame so far.
Yeah, it's just a teenage girl filled with angst that doesn't want to go participate in her parents' religion. But the reason I set her up like that is because she's very unique for for the world, and as a pastor, it's odd because for those who don't know, I'm a pastor of a Baptist evangelical church. We definitely align with those kind of things. We believe in the inerrancy of Scripture, that Jesus Christ is the sole way to heaven, as He stated, and also as it was prophesied that He would be. And so there's a lot of those aspects that as I look at it from the outside in, that I'm like, having a Muslim character for me is a little difficult, and those kind of things. As a person who finds just marketing and capitalism interesting, they're doing a great job in the market because they're filling a role that nobody else has, right? There's not a lot of people that are speaking about Islamic people as heroic just throughout the world, right? And she is just a very average,
she's a positive
and otherwise average girl. Yeah, and she's a great role model. She's very respectful, and like she's respectful of her parents and of that faith. She, as
long as she didn't have to go to the mosque.
Right. So she does make a few turns.
I'm sure she goes to the mosque.
Therein. But I don't know.
I thought she was LGBTQ.
I haven't experienced that yet.
I could be wrong, but I know there's one character.
I haven't seen that. Now there is some rumors that Captain Marvel is in that realm, but I don't know. But I think if you were to if they made Kamala,
have you seen her haircut in the movie?
In that group, yeah. Yeah, she's got a very Karen haircut whenever she comes back.
She's almost got the haircut. I thought about this the other day. Kate plus 8. You remember that show?
Yes.
Where she had like the straight hair and then the explosion out the back. It always looked like duck wings to me, like it was real straight and down and like a. Yeah. I think that's what it is. It's like a duck
it used
butt.
to be John and Kate plus 8.
Yeah,
but then John got eliminated.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was a reality TV show.
Yeah, no doubt.
She voted him off.
Yeah, reality's harsh. Yeah, he didn't make it through the island.
So
the way that the game starts out,
it evolves around her, or
it revolves around her.
Revolves. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but also the Avengers themselves. So the way that the game starts out is they're celebrating A-Day, which is Avengers Day. There's some kids that are being flown in so that they can pitch, or they're part of a comic book contest where they wrote an Avengers comic. And the Avengers are going to pick the best one and like reveal that at A-Day, and so you're there with them, and they're experimenting with Terrigen crystals as a source of energy. And if you're familiar with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or within Inhumans in general, that Terrigen is the compound that reveals new powers in them, and that if they're exposed to it, that they can either die or become superpowered humans, which is where the term Inhuman comes from. Anyway, long story short, AIM, which is a group of bad guys, take things over. They blow up the Golden Gate Bridge. The Avengers try to stop them. They can't stop them.
Right? And MODOK, the leader of AIM.
So MODOK, you see his progression from being just a regular
from a normal
scientist
dude into an insane floating fat computer.
Yes. And it's so far I'm about, I think the game says percentage-wise I'm about 20% of the way through. And MODOK is like almost to his full form there, and so you've got some great villains that are a part of it. Abomination is a part of it early on, but Kamala. So the Avengers get decommissioned. Captain America.
When does she get picked up by the Biden campaign?
I haven't gotten there but the way that you enunciate the name is slightly different.
Kamala.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Was that Tucker Carlson?
Yeah.
And then Joe Biden the next day was like, Kamala's doing a great job. It's like, oh my goodness. Like I'm
sure the outrage was just the same, right?
I would just love if we could just be consistent across the board. Like if the people on the left and the people on the right, if we could just deal with one another with like the slightest bit of grace, I think that it would solve so many of the issues that we're having, right?
I agree. I think there's lots of dumb ideas on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, like let's
make fun of all of them equally.
But in the meantime,
there's a lot more dumb. on one side, I think. But there's plenty of dumb ideas on both sides.
Yeah, and I think that's been one of the biggest things. Not to get off on a whole political thing here, that we've lost in our political system is just to deal with one another with grace, because outrage has now become our new currency.
Look,
conversationally,
we should hate all politicians, not each other.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to advocate hate, but I agree with the sentiment.
I remember being in, this was at Brookhaven College.
Yeah,
I was in a class, it was a government class. And I I think it was government class. I think I'm trying to remember exactly what this guy was teaching, but he was kind of awesome. But one day he said something that really, to me, I knew he didn't mean, but it was really showing how he feels about politicians. But he said, I think that all politicians should be dragged in the street and brought to the Lincoln Memorial and be shot in the head.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a very jarring statement.
No joke.
Yeah.
Did he get canceled?
I don't know.
I guess when we were in college, it was actually pre-Twitter.
Yeah, no one cared. I mean, everyone. I remember there was an audible gasp and some silence after it, but also everyone was thinking about it and thinking about why he said it.
Right.
Not that he was actually advocating for that, but he was saying
this would have been
politics is dirty.
Yeah.
Politicians in a large sweeping manner are all dirty scumbags.
And this would have been prior to the Bush-Kerry elections in 2004, because this would have been or like
it would have been probably right after that.
Okay, yeah.
It was that time,
like during that time period, yeah, because that's when we would have been in our early college years.
Yeah, so he was probably talking about Republicans mainly, assuming he was.
Yeah, that's assuming he was a college professor.
Yeah, understanding that he was.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So anyway, a lot of bad stuff happens in the opening scenes. They're online and have been for a while, so I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil. Cap dies.
Okay.
And then
he's a commie, anyways.
Yeah. So then Kamala gets discovered as having inhuman powers about 5 years later, has to run from AIM, who's trying to eliminate all the Inhumans. And in so doing, she tells her dad that she's going to go to this girls' retreat that's happening at the mosque, but then hops on a bus to Utah to get to the last known place of the resistance. And there, instead of finding the last known place of the resistance, she finds the helicarrier that had the Terrigen crystal on it. The Terrigen crystals are gone, but she finds in his beast form the Hulk, who has been there for about 3 years, and that's where the adventure really starts and gets
Professor Hulk
going.
Yet, or is he just
Hulk? He's just Hulk.
Okay.
And after she's able to get free of some AIM people that are trying to capture her, the Hulk sees that she's got some superpowers, which are pretty akin to Mr. Fantastic.
She's stretchy.
Right, and I don't know this for sure, but I've heard rumored that her advent and like rise came a lot from the people that really are from Disney when Disney acquired Marvel, that they really liked the powers that Mr. Fantastic had.
Yeah.
And like the way that it could be manifested and all that. But
so they were like, let's remake that.
Well, sort of. So when Disney
all a part of their
Marvel,
let's remake everything.
Well, when Disney acquired Marvel, they quit producing Fantastic Four because the Fantastic Four were a Fox entity. And they didn't want Fox.
Also, that last movie was a flop.
Well, so they didn't want Fox to be able to create.
I don't think they owned it at the time, though. That was. I think was that Disney.
Disney owned Marvel, right? But that was.
So it had to have been.
But that was a Fox. No, that was a Fox movie. So Fox owned the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four.
And Sony owns Spider-Man.
And everything. And
they're trying to bring everything back
universe. Yeah, I don't know that, and they're going to have struggles with two properties. One is I don't think Sony's going to get rid of Spider-Man. It's too lucrative. Mm-hmm. But they're cooperating together for a lot of MCU stuff. And the second thing that they don't own is they don't actually own the rights to make an independent Incredible Hulk movie. That's actually owned by Universal, which is why the Hulk can show up in Thor Ragnarok. He can be a part of the Avengers.
By the way, Thor Ragnarok, maybe my favorite Marvel movie.
Oh, yeah. The intergalactic buddy comedy that is Thor Ragnarok.
Well, Taika Waititi is one of my favorite directors at this point.
I think he's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Jojo Rabbit?
Jojo Rabbit was great.
But heartbreaking.
It was.
Oh, man.
But full of heart, very funny.
Yep.
Most of it. I mean, it's about the, at least the start of the Holocaust.
Right. No, the end. Because at the end of the movie, the Americans are coming in. Spoiler alert.
It doesn't really focus on the Holocaust. It's set
right.
in Germany. Is it Berlin? Is that where they're in?
Yeah.
And she ends. I won't get into it, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's great. Scarlett Johansson's wonderful in that movie.
Taika Waititi plays the imaginary Hitler, his friend,
which is just one of the most bizarre things ever.
I can't believe I've thought about this when I was watching it. I wish I could be there, had been there for that pitch meeting with whichever studio. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head that made it. The pitch meeting where Taika Waititi says, okay, I want to make, I don't know, New Zealand accent.
Right.
I want to make a movie, all right? In it, it's going to be, no, it's just coming out British.
Yeah.
In it, it's going to follow a Hitler youth around. And I am going to be his imaginary friend, Hitler. I just imagine everyone in Hollywood going, no.
Which is why I had to make it in New Zealand.
Okay, I didn't know it was independent.
Well, I mean, not independent. It was backed by.
And by the way,
his folks
that
over
film
there.
does not glorify Nazism or
it doesn't, and there was a lot of concern about that at first. But along those same lines, I want to recommend, if you guys have not read it or you're not familiar with it, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Mm-hmm. Which has just recently been translated into English. They were essays that were originally published in 1946 after he was released from a concentration camp. And it is incredibly powerful stuff. They recently have put it on Thinker, so if you're a Thinker subscriber, you can read or listen to it there. But, well, at least the main idea is there. But it is... that probably one of the single most impactful things that I've begun reading this year. I would put him on par as far as like thought goes with Chesterton, but he's a lot more introspective and not as I mean, obviously he's writing after concentration camps on those kind of things, so he's not as funny as Chesterton is. He's not writing essays on cheese, but the points that he makes and how he's able to really grasp and look at the human condition, mm-hmm. and the grace in which he handles a lot of that stuff with it's really powerful stuff. But he's one that coming out of that, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason I think about this is the last few scenes in Jojo Rabbit where the poor kid, Scarlett Johansson's in it in one, and they focus a lot on her shoes. Mm-hmm. So more spoilers. More spoilers here.
Spoiler alert! Turn off the channel if you haven't seen it.
But they
we need every viewer.
Every viewer possible. So
just see it after this.
There's a lot of scenes where they focus on her shoes, and she's got these really pronounced pair of shoes that she wears throughout the movie. And then Jojo is walking by, just some stuff, and he's a fully indoctrinated Hitler youth at this time. Mm-hmm. There's just no two ways about it. And anyways, as he's walking by these people that are hanged, you see his mom's shoes, and this is kind of where he turns the corner. And
maybe this isn't an awesome group.
Yeah, and he starts to believe that, and then he discovers that his mom has hidden a little Jewish girl in their home, and he doesn't. At this point, he's not ratting her out, and
he's repulsed by her at first, and
and some of the stuff that he
slowly
talks
realizes
about,
that they're both human.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff that he talks about, because he writes a book on being, or how awful the Jews are, on like the Jew demons and stuff, and this was the actual types of things that were published by the Nazis, and while Tika is shedding some light on it in sort of a satirical sense, through the maturity of Jojo, you see the de-radicalization of this kid. Mm-hmm. And I think that as far as like that commentary goes,
it's awesome.
I think it's great, but I also think that it's very salient right now for the time that we're in. Mm-hmm. That if you were to just take a step back and to look at a few things, and if we are to de-radicalize and learn to deal with one another in grace, that a lot of the conversations that we're having or the issues that we're having and those kind of things would essentially solve themselves. To get back to where we were talking about Avengers, right? Kamala Khan poses a lot of very difficult things for me as a video game player, me as a Christian, me as a pastor, and like I said, as a person who looks at that and I'm like, okay, from a capitalistic perspective, I can't look at what Marvel did and be like, oh, you know what? I can't believe you did this. I can't believe you did this. I can't believe you did this. They have to market themselves and have a broader appeal, and so they've done it in a way that affords them that. I also think that with the way that they're developing the characters and everything thus far in the game, it brings into light something that I've always believed in, especially when you see the way that Jesus talks to people, when you see the way that Paul, especially in Acts chapter 17, where he's talking to the Areopagus or the Areopagus, depending on how you want to pronounce that he makes...
I don't know either one of those.
Yeah, so what he does is he
Arpeggio? Was that it?
Yeah, the Arpeggio. He makes an appeal to the people where they're at. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to take them in, and I think we've gotten this idea... And Greg Kokel talks a little bit about this on his podcast, but also in the book Tactics, is we've gotten this idea, especially as evangelical Christians, that like if I'm talking to you about Jesus, that my end goal needs to be like, we need to say a prayer, you need to get saved right now, and if you don't, then I've failed. And that's really, that's not what Jesus did. That's not what Paul does. We should talk persuasively about the gospel in the sense that we should talk about it in the way that it's changed our lives and the power that's
within it. You should be an
it.
advocate for it,
yeah.
right?
But Kokel talks a lot about, like, instead of going and trying to get every person to convert to Christianity immediately, that oftentimes all that's necessary is for you to throw a stone in their shoe. And that once you've done that, then, like, they've got to deal with the fact that now that there's a rock in their shoe, it's not your responsibility. You leave that job to the Holy Spirit, who's supposed to be taking care of it in the first place.
So can you give an example of what that would look like? What's a stone, putting a stone in someone's shoe?
Yeah, so putting a stone in somebody's shoe is, I'll walk you through a conversation that I had recently with somebody. So we started to talk about whether or not God was real, right? And they went to, and because of the book Tactics, I was kind of prepped on some answers and stuff for this particular question. So I'm talking to a person who is an atheist, and they are talking about whether or not God's real. And so they look at me and they're like, well, if God's real, then who created God? Like, if you have to get something to irreducible, then who created God? And the simple argument with that is, like, you as an atheist don't believe that God exists, right? Me as a Christian, I believe that God is outside of time, space, and matter because all of those things were part of creation, right? If you look in the Genesis story, whether you believe that it's a mirror narrative and that it's something that happened over the course of... Yeah, if you want it with cheese sticks, if you believe that it's
I'm hungry. I've been dieting. No, I'm just
breaded mozzarella right now sounds delicious.
Yeah. No, go
so
ahead.
Whether you believe that it's a mirror narrative or whether you believe that it's literal, regardless, we see in the first chapter of Genesis that time, space, and matter are all brought into existence. And so we believe in a God that exists outside of those things. So if a God exists outside of those things, I don't believe that God was created. He, as an atheist, doesn't believe that God was created. So why are we having this conversation? And the atheist was like, well, I'm not sure. I'm like, great. So if you don't know when we're going to have this portion of the conversation, and I don't know when we're having this portion of the conversation, then what are you trying to get at?
Well, let's double down.
Yeah. Yeah, then either let's talk about what it is that you're trying to get at, or let's shift to something else. Well, then a few days later, I get a text from him, and he's like, so you don't believe that God was created? Like, no, I don't. I think God exists outside of time, space, and matter. He's like, that's actually something that I've never considered. And so the putting a stone in somebody's shoe is like, now he's considering something that he hasn't actually considered before.
That's what we should be doing for each other is
absolutely
challenging ideas and furthering each other's understanding.
And I think that should happen both in and outside of the church. And I think that that's something that as Christians we've gotten away from because we've gotten dogmatic instead of, really engaged in discipleship. We've gotten into the habit of saying, like, do this, don't do this, stay away from this. These are bad people. These are bad things. If you do this, then you're going to follow down this road. And what we've done in essence is that we've taken the gospel and we've started to put fences around it. And that if you can still find it by looking through all of those fences, then you've done great. But those fences are there to protect you. The Bible says, don't get drunk. And so we've said, okay, well, don't drink.
Yeah, no drinking.
Right, and so what we've done
in
dancing. Essence is now what we've done is we've taken...
No singing.
Yeah, all of those things. And when we've done those, we've taken the gospel and we've put a fence around it. We've made it that much more difficult to achieve because now in order to be acceptable, now I have to... the Bible says don't get drunk, but now I have to not drink. And the reason I bring that one up in particular is because that's one that's a huge sticking point for a lot of people. But we've also said things that are like, don't.
See, I don't like dancing anyways.
Yeah.
So
we're not good at it.
Yeah.
That's the reason that there's a reason.
True that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that we were on the stage and not on the dance floor.
Yeah,
is because there were two ways you could learn to two-step or you could learn an instrument.
I'm good at ballroom dancing. I can do that.
Are you really?
I took lessons. Yeah.
So like, what kind of ballroom dancing do you do?
I don't know, spinning. You've got a girl and dancing. I don't know. I don't remember the names.
You spin them.
Yeah, it's fun.
Here's the primary question I want an answer to.
Okay, I'm ready.
So you've seen the new Dancing with the Stars roster, haven't you?
I heard that Carol Baskins is on it.
How do you think, as a ballroom dancing expert as you are, how do you think Carol Baskins is going to do on Dancing with the Stars?
I think she's going to have to really watch her left foot.
Okay. Yeah, how come?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I started trying to connect that to how she killed her husband, and then I realized I should have started off with the left foot.
Yeah, you're trying to make. What's
I
that board
did
called?
hear the board.
Yeah, like when they have the big board up, and then you got to connect all the things, and there's like the red string around it. You see like all the
conspiracy board or something.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
But I did hear that she did her first dance. Have you heard this?
No.
Guess what song they played? She danced to.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yep.
Predictable.
Yeah.
How many good Tiger songs are there going to be for her to dance to?
0.
Now 0, or are you saying that Eye of the Tiger is also
Eye of the
not
Tiger
a good
was
song?
good in Rocky. That's it.
Do you remember it was a series of beer commercials called Real Men of Genius?
Yeah. Yes.
So
yeah,
the
Real Men of Genius.
Right.
It was a great.
It's the lead singer.
Campaign.
The lead singer for Survivor is the one who sang
cool.
that. Yeah, so the Eye of the Tiger
a better
guy.
song. No, I'm being mean for no reason. Eye of the Tiger is a great song in its own regard.
Is it?
In its own regard, yes. Sure.
It's a great a great movie song. Like Let It Go is a great song for a movie, but I'm not listening to that on
I don't
radio.
care about it.
Yeah.
But it's a perfectly fine song. But yeah, there are some songs that are clearly movie songs. There was Hero, I think was one. It was for Spider-Man. You remember that? It was Chad Kroeger. And
oh, yeah.
There was somebody else for some stupid band that they collaborated.
Yeah, there are a few songs that are great because of the movies that they've been in that would not be great otherwise.
Yeah, I remember jamming out to Hero, and now I think if I heard it, I'd throw up.
The song Space Jam. At the Space Jam. Yeah. That's a great song because of the movie Space Jam. If somebody played that just on the radio, if that just popped up on Kiss FM, I'd be like, what is this garbage?
By the way, they're redoing Space Jam.
Yeah, I heard about this.
With LeBron James.
Yeah. I could not be more defeated.
Sorry, LeJon Brames. I got that wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
And The Mask is going to be in it. That is the only thing that I'm interested in the movie about. And I'm sure it'll be a cameo. I'm sure he's not going to have a starring
big role. Yeah.
And I don't think Jim Carrey's even really in it. I think that's a digital version.
Digitized The Mask.
Yeah. Which is a little bit of a bummer because I love The Mask.
I've heard rumor that because of the just incredible drop-off that the NBA's seen due to politicizing so many things, that production might be postponed until they can sort some things out.
I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm not huge on it.
I was mildly interested in it.
I have not been keeping up with sports at all.
No. Yeah.
And so I was incredibly surprised. I was incredibly surprised last night to learn that the Dallas Stars have made it to the Western Conference, or they made it through the Western Conference Finals and are now going to be playing for the Stanley Cup.
So I do really like the Stars.
I love the Stars.
I will own up to it that I followed every season.
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't watched every game. There's been a bunch that I go, you know what, I'll read it.
Well, there's 80-something games, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard for a fan to watch every game.
But this season, I have not watched one because I've seen all these little clips of the game that's going on, and there's no audience, there's nothing really going on, and it looks like a practice to me. And I know that I should still watch it. I'm going to watch the finals because, I love the Stars.
So you didn't watch any of the games before the break?
No.
So from October or November, whenever they started, to when they stopped doing games in March.
No, that's not correct. Okay. I have watched them previously before that.
So this is the thing that's got me so messed up in my brain about hockey, is that it doesn't feel like it's the same season.
I thought it was a new season.
So it's because it's so close to when they should be starting the next season.
Yeah.
Like they should be not playing for the Stanley Cup right now. They should be looking to start the next season in a few weeks.
So that explains why I'm so thrown off too.
Yeah.
Because I think you had texted me, dude, did you hear about the Stars? And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like
they're in the finals. What finals? What are you talking about?
Yep. And then
I didn't even know that my favorite team.
And see, my favorite team.
I don't watch the Cowboys. I don't watch Rangers. I don't care about any of that.
So speaking of the Cowboys, my favorite sport has always been football.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize there's been no preseason games. There's hardly any talk of training camp. I've deleted, because the sports apps that I had during this weird dry dock that we had with no sports at all, they're just sending me like nonsense stuff about like, oh, did you see that LeBron James tweeted this out? Or, Meta World Peace just had a tweet, or the Major League Baseball Players Association is now in another imbroglio with the owners, and they can't get everything sorted out. Like I was just tired of getting updates.
Some dude threw a tennis ball at the referee's throat.
Yeah. Boy, that was weird, wasn't it?
That was weird. I saw the clip.
So we're getting all of these crazy updates, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm tired of getting all of this like weird news funneled through my sports app. So I just deleted all of them, because they're you can turn off the notifications, and yet still some way it finds a way to push a notification through, which is the most frustrating thing ever. So I just deleted all the apps. And I got a text message from a buddy of mine that was like, hey, are we doing fantasy football again this year? And I was like, no. I hadn't even thought about it. When does the season start? And he's like, Sunday? It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, they just played. Who did they play?
The Cowboys just played. The Cowboys played, they lost, so it doesn't even matter.
Though the reason I know they lost is because of I'm on the ticket.
They played the LA Rams. Yeah.
And I saw that's another thing that I had to snooze. Of Dak. Dak's not worth the $5 million extra that he wanted, or whatever. There's something about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what negotiations he had. I know what all the people that love the Cowboys are saying about it, and him.
Yeah. So I went over to my brother and sister-in-law's place, and we watched the game, and I just thought, at least something in 2020 remained consistent, that the Cowboys still suck.
Yeah, I know. And
like there's a thing that is kind of beautiful about consistent disappointments, and so I just want to personally thank Jerry Jones and the Jones family for providing that for us, providing the consistent disappointment.
Cowboys still suck.
Yeah,
the world is going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, not everything in 2020 has changed.
Yeah.
But the Stars are in the Stanley Cup Finals, so that's. I'm a little miffed on how they're going to do some things, because like, are you going to win the Stanley Cup? Is there going to be like an asterisk or like an addendum about this year, about the abbreviated season and the weird playoff stuff? And I'm a little disappointed for our city, because
we're not going to have a big parade.
Yeah,
that is a bummer.
And well, obviously, like you can't have the parade unless you win. But we're not. The last time the Stars were in the Stanley Cup Finals was in 2000.
1990.
That's 99 they won, and then so the last time they were in 2000 against Buffalo, and the city was like electric. The last time we were in the Western Conference Finals, like 10 years ago or so, the city was just like fit to be tied. It was awesome. Everybody had these great vibes. The Stars were everywhere, and now they're playing in the bubble in Edmonton, and like I didn't even know that this was happening. I texted a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Yeah, I heard they won. Isn't that cool?" Like, yeah, we would have been like earlier this year. when they were winning close games, we were freaking out, like giving each other text messages in all caps and tons of emojis and yada yada. And now it's like, oh yeah, isn't that cool?
There was a couple of years ago. I was traveling. I was in LA for like a week and a half or something. I was in LA for like a week.
Yeah.
I was drinking some boba tea.
Gross. That's a good way to get choked.
Yeah. No, I've never had boba tea.
Okay, so I got conned into doing it once by my sister because I talked to try to take my mom out like at least once or twice a year, and so my sister had just gone through a weird breakup, and so I was taking her out for boba tea, and she convinced me to try it, and I got one of those stupid little custard balls or whatever it is in the straw and didn't realize it and was like,
so you added some more. You're like, I need some more pressure,
dude. So I
shot down your throat like a bullet.
It nailed me like right at the top part, like right behind my palate. It just socked me right in there, and must have just hit my uvula like a punching bag, like a speed bag, and just and immediately I took a sip of it. Was like, I'm done.
So no.
$5 worth of tea.
I wasn't drinking boba tea in LA.
Well, that's good.
But I did search every night that they were playing. This is in the playoffs. I did search for a bar that would, that I could,
a place where you can go watch the game.
Go watch it. Yeah. So I'd choose to go have dinner based off of a call ahead and like, hey, can you, you're going to play the game? Because there's some you can show up and you can ask them to put it on. But
right. Buffalo Wild Wings is normally pretty cool about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not every place is.
But yeah, this season didn't even know they were really in the finals.
It's so weird because this season's
in the playoffs.
Been so weird for them.
Yeah.
Right? They got a new head coach with Jim Montgomery, and then halfway through the season, he's gone.
Yeah.
And so Rick Bowness has taken over, and now it looks like Bowness is going to be able to take it. And there was
if you're Montgomery, what are you thinking right now?
I mean, that poor guy.
Yeah.
Right, so
I don't really remember what the whole. There was some kind of a.
It was an addiction
scandal. It seemed like a light scandal. It wasn't like he attacked anybody or anything, but it was. There was something he was dealing with.
He's come out and talked about it, that it's alcoholism.
Okay.
And that it had gotten to the point where it was affecting his work and had essentially just like destroyed his life, and he just at the time couldn't snap out of his addiction, and so this was the wake-up call that he needed. And unfortunately, it came in a way that he lost his gig, and
mid-season, before they went to the finals,
and just crazy. And Rick Bowness has done what's weird is that, like, if you read the stuff about the Stars, like from Bob Sturm, for instance, Sturm would have you think that the Stars are having that they're the worst team in hockey, and they're not having a great statistical season, but they are like putting up stellar performances when it counts.
Yeah, I mean they eliminated the Knights.
Yeah, and so they play them the first night, and since they're playing in this weird bubble, the Knights played the Stars for Game 1 on a back-to-back in a playoff series, which is really weird. And so the Stars win, and then the Knights both teams get a rest, and then they played again, and the Knights just killed them 3-0. And everybody was like, "Oh, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The Stars are going to get killed." But I got to see 2 games that the Stars played against the Golden Knights this year, and both were stellar games. And one was a Stars victory, and the other one we left early because something happened. I had to get back, but it's pretty insane that of all the teams, the Stars are right there in the thick of it.
Go Stars!
Yeah, go Stars! Good luck, everybody.
I don't like the victory green though.
You don't?
Nah.
I love it.
I like the old.
You just like the black.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like the bowl constellation one that they did?
No.
Like the old
really. That was the old one? No.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Not really.
I love the victory green.
I like the black because of Madonna.
Right.
I have a white one signed by Madonna when I met him, which is an awesome experience.
Yep.
And then I've got a black one that's also Madonna that's signed by the rest of the team. I think I got Jamie Benn.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was when we went to that thing together, right?
There was one I went to a mall because they were all there.
No, this is not.
And there was another one. There was a game that we went to. Yeah, we met. I don't remember who it was.
We cut in line to get Brendan Morrow's autograph.
Yeah, there you go. It was Morrow.
Yep. So
previous captain.
Yeah, so I've got a buddy of mine got it for me, a practice jersey that is really cool. That's the black, but I've got 2 of the victory green sweaters, and I love them. I think they're awesome. I've got
I don't hate
Sagan
it.
and a
My
Ben.
favorite's the black. I'll say it that
right.
way. I don't hate it, but my favorite's the black.
What do you think about now I know you're not a basketball guy at all. Did you see the Mavs alternate jersey for this year? Oh, man. So they had to do, I forget.
We'll just put it up like right here.
Yeah, I forget what they called it. It was like City. They called it like the City logo. And it looked like the spray paint from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had like thrown up
it was like a neon
Mavs jersey. That's it right there.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a great way to describe it.
And they redid the court to where it had...
I kind of like that.
It had the logo on it. It was just so jarring.
Yeah.
That so many people like immediately hated it.
That feels like a Space Jam, actually.
Okay, that's
jersey.
what I thought. Right? Like this looks like...
It looked like the... what's his name? Cuban. The Cuban was like, give me the Space Jam font.
Yeah. Yeah. Build for me the Space Jam jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it.
Get Bugs Bunny in here right now.
But it was really weird to see it. So both the games that Kirsten and I went to, both the Mavs games that we went to before the break,
they were wearing that.
Yeah, and it was just bizarre to go and to see that because they did, and they changed up the court. Here's the court. They changed up the court quite a bit for it, and changed the Mavs and the Dallas. And then
so he's really leaning into that font.
Stuff. Oh, man. Just huge. And the ones like from 2 years ago, I think, were for the city jersey, it was the Dallas skyline. Mm-hmm. So it was really cool, really classic looking. And then the ones last year, it was black with like a hollowed out green. It kind of looked like a neon light thing. And so the last couple have been really cool, and this one I think people were like, what in the world? But when I realized I'd seen the jersey, I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about that. And then there was, I forget what streaming service had just picked up the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it showed the Fresh Prince spray paint. Yeah. It's like that's it. That's it. That's what they did. It's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So yeah, it's grown on me since I sort of had that apostrophe. But
in West Philadelphia, that logo was born and raised.
Yeah, but the 76ers didn't use it, did they?
No,
nope.
They did not.
It was the sweet, gentle Mavericks.
I'm impressed that I successfully had a probably 10 to 15 minute sports conversation.
I don't know how much it takes for you to be impressive to yourself. Less than it should.
That's fair.
More than you think, less than it should.
Yeah, that's fair.
There.
First off, that's fair. Yeah. Second off, being able to talk about sports more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, you did well.
Not something that I typically check out and walk off.
Yeah. Yeah, and right now I think we've all been pretty checked out to sports.
Yeah.
Just in general.
But which again is really odd. So I'm sorry officially to the Dallas Stars. Love you. Bring Madonna back. Bring Hatcher back, most importantly.
Did you ever see Madonna? So when he went to go play for the Red Wings, he got that cut across his hand.
Man, yeah.
Did you ever see like the weird thing with the hand, like his
rubber bands?
Oh my gosh, it looked like something from a horror movie.
I don't remember which way it was, but it cut his tendons and his fingers, and he couldn't flex them anymore. So they had to reattach it, but then he had to have constant pressure on it,
right?
And so he had these rubber bands kind of pulling his fingers
down. Oh, it looked so weird. We gotta find a picture of that.
That dude is
Madonna rubber bands hands.
He's my leader.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so real quick, and maybe we'll end on this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Unless you've got something else. But
no.
The story when I met him
is full of nothing.
I love the story of how I met him. It was ticket stock.
So you're impressed with yourself, and now you're going to tell us a story about that you love.
Well, it's a story that I'm very fond of because I met him, not because I'm in it.
No, I think this is great.
I am in it, and I do like that fact.
This is why you could never be a socialist. You're too you-centric.
So anyways, we're at ticket stock. This is, I don't know, 8-9 years ago.
Okay, so like 2010.
My son is in a stroller. So that should give some kind of context. Now he's 11. So we're in line outside of the Irving Convention Center because they were going to let the first 200 people in. Ticket stock is a big thing here in Dallas. If you're not familiar with it, the ticket is a big. It
appears that it was 2014. So Kale would have been 3.
Yeah, that sounds okay.
Thank you.
No, he would have been 3.
Yeah, he would have. In February 2014, he's 3. He turns 4 in 2014, but not until in the summer.
Yep. That somewhat works. I'm still not completely sure, but I don't want to burn more time on debating what year it was.
The child was 3, and he was in a stroller.
Yeah. So we're outside in line. First 200 are going to get a ticket to get in line to get an autograph from Madonna. There was another line for somebody else who played for the Cowboys. So I got in at like number 190 or something like that, some ticket, So they let us in. It's super early. There's a bouncy house. There's all kinds of vendors. It's this whole event. And then the ticket is going to live. I almost said live stream, but this was a little bit before that. They're doing their radio show.
Yeah.
From the stage, which is really
live
cool.
Broadcast.
Live broadcast. Yep. Getting to see them from the stage doing it was really fun too, because they would come out and these people I've been listening to for 10 years, your whole life. And so anyways, I got my number 9 Madonna jersey on, of course, because I'm going to meet my hero. And I have the stroller. My wife has taken my son to go jump on the bouncy castle before everyone shows up. Uh-huh. And this dude comes up to me and he just starts chatting me up. He says, "Hey, do you like Madonna?" And I was like, "I don't know. What do you think?" Of course I was sarcastic.
Right. Yeah.
I got my number 9. I'm like, yes. You see? He's like, "Do you want to meet him?" Yes. Yes, I want to meet him. He said, "Okay, let's go. I'm going to take you backstage." And I was like, "Well, hold on, what?" He said, "Yeah, we'll go meet him." Okay, do I have time to get my wife? He's like, we don't have a whole lot of time. I was like, "Okay, let's go." I followed him. So I followed him backstage. He took me into the dressing room. Madonna was there. They're doing shoots. And I got a really cool picture of him with his arm around me in front of this backdrop.
That's awesome.
And I got to meet him. I don't know why. I don't know why he singled me out other than maybe the number 9 on my jersey. But I remember watching him in the Stanley Cup playoffs when they won.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time I fell in love with the Stars. It was when I fell in love with the Stars.
Right.
But it was so awesome.
The epic battle between Eddie Belfour and Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, and then Guy Carbonneau finally scoring the goal, and he's 40-something years old, and he just passes out on the ice.
So good.
Yes.
Yeah, those were the days.
And was it Brett Hull?
Brett Hull
scored it. But I remember Guy Carbonneau. I remember he somehow I remember that he was maybe skating and he just fell down. He was like, "Okay, I'm out."
Yeah,
because it was like, I don't remember what time it was, but it was uber overtime. The final game. Great playoff.
It was an absolutely incredible win.
Yes.
And the head coach of the
Hitchcock, right?
Well, Hitchcock was of the Stars, but the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres, Lindy Ruff, would later go on to become the head coach of the Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, good luck, Stars. Love you.
And
bring home the silver, baby.
And for those of you listening and watching, we love you too.
Yeah, that's right. Go like and subscribe. Go check us out on Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
YouTube.
The YouTubes.
Facebooks.
Yeah.
Twitters.
Yeah, we're on.
And ReverendRep.com.
Yeah, we're on all of it. If you guys have questions for us, you can email us at Reverend and Reprobate at gmail.com. We've got a few questions from some people that we'd love to be able to answer on the air. But if you've got questions for us, whether it's something that you want to ask a pastor that you want to know about, or whether it's just something about us in particular that you'd be interested in, or if you're our parents and you're one of the few people listening and you just want to know why we haven't told you these stories before, we'd love to answer your questions and dodge them here live on the air with one another, pre-recorded.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. So thanks, guys, for listening, for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.